It is 6:15, but people are still joining the meeting. And so I just want to give everybody ample time to get brought into the meeting before we get started, but it should be shortly. Just FYI for you that the meeting is being recorded, and so it will be available. And I'll make sure I repeat that throughout the course of the presentation so that you're aware that it will be available for you at a later time as well. So my mute is not off. Can you hear me now? Interesting. I'm sorry.
I can hear you,
okay. Well, I was just talking with myself and my dogs here. So, in my own little world. We'll just wait another minute or so to make sure everybody has ample time to join the meeting. What I was saying is that the meeting is actually being recorded, and so you will be able to review this again, and go ahead and please share that with other parents as you're out and about and connecting with other families. I think we'll go ahead and get started. Kapil, does it look like it's okay with people are admitted as much as possible at this point? It's slowing down?
Yeah, we have about 110 people online now. I'll continue to admit them as they join.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Kapil. And Doreen, would you be willing to monitor the chat for me and answer questions that you can? And then at the end, if there are holistic things that you can call out those questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer them. And if I can't, maybe you and Kapil can help with that. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Well, welcome everybody. It's wonderful to see so many people here to get ready for the launch of our 2021 school year. I am super excited that you are joining us. And I want to just say a strong welcome and thank you to all of the parents and families that have reached out to me via email and welcomed me and have been so straightforward with, hey, here's what I can do to help, and I want to help make this a good school year. So with that, I'm going to just go through the agenda. I'm going to share with you the names of all of our instructors, our lead instructors, and our assistants as well. We're going to have an opportunity to talk about the school day. What are the hours and what are the classes? I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about ARC. That's the foundation or one of the foundations of OCASA charter. And so we want to make sure that you have some background information about that. I'll be sharing a little bit about STEAM classes and actually STEAM Plus, and then also go through some progress reports and some big ideas, additional questions that you may have. And there obviously will be time for questions at the end. So with that, I want to make sure that I introduce Kapil Mathur. He is our executive director and the individual, one of the founding individuals that helped bring this school on board. My name is Dr. Julie Beto-Schubert. Please just call me Julie. I sign off on my correspondence that way. The only thing I ask is that the kids call me Dr. Beto-Schubert. I want to also let you know that we will have very strong student support services throughout our virtual learning experiences and when we return back to the brick and mortar setting. Mandy Davis is joining us this year as our school psychologist. Kelly Welsh is our education specialist who will help provide support for our students with IEPs. John Schutza is our arts teacher. And he runs Arts Quest, which is visual, performing, and culinary arts. Within the Kinder 1 or the red band, and within the 2-3, which is the orange band, the Arts Quest is called Launching Off, where you get a really great opportunity to experience visual, performing, culinary arts all woven in and basically surrounding the children throughout the day. The yellow band, which is 4th and 5th grade multi-age, is Into the Deep, where they're actually digging deeper into and really starting to hone in and develop more of their interests in visual, performing, and culinary arts. Vanessa Robinson was a classroom teacher last year and has just completed her master's degree in science, technology, engineering, and math. And so she will be the individual that is in charge of our STEM program this year. She has been in contact with Orange County Department of Education STEM experts and is really doing an exceptional job of thinking about the best way to support our learners through creativity, the maker space, and also STEAM lessons, computer lab, or technology-based solutions, and really how does that all apply within the entire academic model to really support learning across all of those different disciplines. So it's a great addition to that department, and we're really looking forward to seeing that program grow and expand. Jesus Garcia is joining us again this year. He will be providing a Spanish enrichment program for K through 3rd grade students, and then it'll be a more formal language curriculum for the 4th and 5th graders. I should mention that Vanessa Robertson also is a fluent Spanish speaker, and so Vanessa is very pumped to be working with Jesus and seeing if she can incorporate some of that learning within the context of the STEM curriculum as it makes sense. So then I want to introduce to you our lead teachers and instructional assistants for the red band. The red band would be what you would typically call kindergarten and 1st grade. This is a multi-age classroom with Diana O'Daniels, Anna Norris, Lindsay Sapola as our lead teachers, Tanya Singh, Taylor Groninger, sorry Taylor if I botched your name, and Susie Babakani. I think I botched your name as well. I even asked them to send me this afternoon a audio of them saying their last name so I wouldn't mess it up. I'll keep working on it. Give me a little grace on this one. I'm from the Midwest, and we have names like Smith and Johnson. So I am hoping that I will be better at not butchering Susie and Taylor's name real soon. Our orange band is made up of 4 classrooms, 2nd and 3rd grade together. Our lead teachers are Shay Hollander, Rochelle Goody, Samantha Iserson, and Anita Yazbek, with our instructional assistants being Amanda Connick, Whitney Aguilar, Karen Lewis, and Gina Lamour. And then finally, yellow band is our 4th and 5th grade classroom with also in a multi-age setting. The lead teachers are Teresa Fleming, Dana Ware, and Melissa Horgan. And the instructional assistants are Rebecca Middleton, Miranda Fazio, and Isabel Hoffman. And I apologize, Miranda, if I messed your name up as well. I'm working on it, ladies. So just getting in touch with the day-to-day basics. Our virtual school hours and days are obviously Monday through Friday. We have school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. While we're in the virtual setting, our classes will be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on Thursdays, they'll be from 9 a.m. to 12:30. I'm going to get more into what that means as far as the amount of time that kids are actually going to be sitting on the computer versus doing work completion as the presentation goes on. So do not worry, they're not going to be on the computer from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. solid. So what will my child's schedule be like, and how will they be connecting? So each teacher is going to be using the Google Classroom. They're going to provide for you a week at a glance, or we call it a WAG. And the STEM, FIED, music, art, and Spanish teachers will all contribute to each band's week at a glance. And we will provide that to you the week before the actual instruction happens. And I've actually asked teachers to also be thinking within that week at a glance to be providing opportunities for listing of within, for example, math curriculum. We're going to need you to have counters, and can you find 10 buttons, or can you find 10 paper clips, and get all of those manipulatives ready so that the students are actually will have manipulatives available. Hopefully it will allow you an opportunity to do a treasure hunt within your household and clean out those junk drawers that you have. Teachers will be sharing their master schedule for their classroom. They will have a very specific time during the day, each day, that is related specifically to the STEM, FIED, music, art, and Spanish classes. And then there may be some, there will be a time for direct instruction as it relates to whole group instruction, probably in the neighborhood, depending upon the range or the age level, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. And that will actually be recorded and posted as well. There'll be breakout sessions for individual instruction as well as small group instruction that will be worked in to the schedules, and that information will be provided by your teacher, by your child's classroom teacher. I do want to let you know that every student at OCASA Charter will have lunch break from 12 o'clock to 12:30. Hopefully that will alleviate some of the mad dash between kids with different schedules, that you'll have that block of time that you can sit down for lunch with the kids in your family, if you in fact are going to be the adult in the household. Office hours for individual parent meetings with a teacher will be scheduled directly with the teacher, and they will actually provide you with information related to when their times are, when they are actually available. Wanted to touch a little bit about the ARC projects. They are interdisciplinary projects that are inquiry-based. We really encourage our teachers to really embed them throughout the day. So if there is something that's applicable to the math instruction, that would be woven in to the interdisciplinary ARC project. And I can let you know that the fall theme is going to be a life of service, and the teachers have actually already started working on that, as well as in the spring Kingdom Plante, which they also have done some brainstorming around. So more information to follow on those as we progress into the year. So you'll notice that I put STEAM classes plus, and the reason I put the plus is because of the Spanish and physical education. So I'm going to just give you a basic general guideline regarding what the instruction will be like. The guided instruction will be 2 to 3 times per week, and that will be in the form of some activities that are scheduled, also some videos that are posted. They, with the exception of one particular time, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. Let me go back to the STEM visual arts and performing arts. That guided instruction is going to be 2 to 3 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes with the yellow with the red and orange band. And there is a typo in here. It's 40 minutes for the yellow band. Spanish will also be guided instruction 2 to 3 times per week. And once again, it's 20 to 40 minutes per session depending upon the grade level. So 20 for red, 30 for orange, and 40 for yellow. And then finally, physical education. There'll be some guided instruction, which I was mentioning earlier with videos as well as logs and activities that are available for kids to pop in. One of the times is a required time. The other 3 to 4 times will be times where it will be available if it works for your schedule, but each student will actually have a log that they will keep with you to share back with their teacher on the minutes that they've spent with physical education. One of the things that I have heard based upon the spring is that we had parents who actually appreciated the opportunity to use this physical education and the courses or the classes that were taught as an opportunity to engage in a physical activity with your child. And so if you're so inclined, we invite you to join them. And that's the reason why we say, yes, we're going to have guided instruction 1 to 2 times a week. Only one of those times is a required actually view a video. The rest of the times are opportunities for the kids to come together and enjoy with the adults here at OCASA Charter. So some other items that you might be wondering about. All field trips will be virtual this year. That includes our arts quest, as well as our STEM opportunities and our Spanish-based field trip opportunities.
Madam Stewart, can I add one thing to that?
Sure.
All of the field trips will be virtual, and we will not be asking for field trip donations this year. So our teachers are planning field trips that will not require donations.
Thank you, Kapil. Our back to school night has been scheduled. It will be virtual. If you have a student that's in the red band, it'll be on September 2nd from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We will make sure that it's recorded. So if that does not work for you and your family's schedule, it will be recorded so you can watch that information. It will be led by each of the teachers. There may actually, with the fact that there's 3 sections in red band, there may be actually 3 different videos that you can actually pick from your individual teacher, as well as a whole group video. And so more information to come or to follow on that. The same applies to orange band, but the time is 6:15 to 7:15 on September 2nd. And then yellow band will be from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock on September 4th. We're going to be sending information out on Parent Square in a very short period of time. Other things that you might be wondering about is, what about parent-teacher conferences? They will be in October, held virtually, and more information to follow as far as sign up and all of those different pieces for you to be able to connect with your children's teachers. Technology checkout, it does require a sign up. It's going to be on August 17th, and there's going to be actually I think it'll be a letter and a schedule going out on Parent Square tomorrow. And if it's not tomorrow, it'll be early the next day. And if you have a checked out device that's in your possession, we will not check out a new device to your family until the other one is returned. If you would like to keep the one that you have, that is absolutely fine as well. Just send us an email to that point, letting us know that you're just going to keep the device that you have. If it needs repairs or anything along those lines, what I would suggest is that you bring it back with you, or you bring it and you just exchange it for a different device, because we will have all of the Chromebooks charged and cleaned and ready for distribution on the 17th. We're going to allow 3 families in at a time. We'll be socially distanced. You will need to wear a mask, and the people distributing them will also be wearing a mask. And making sure that where you are picking them up from is an adequate distance from other areas of where devices are being distributed. Like I said, there's going to be a calendar coming out asking you to reserve your time. They are in 5-minute increments, so you will want to try to be online. Or, I'm sorry, be on time. The next item is, if you have any issues or concerns with reliable internet access, reach out to me and I will work with you on finding a provider that you can purchase for your in-home access. There are some resources that are available that I can connect you with for a reduced rate with internet access if your situation aligns with the protocols that are defined by those particular organizations that I'll connect you with. As far as student progress is concerned, we will have report cards this year, and they will be based upon academic standards and effort. If you are a returning member to OCASA, you'll recognize the grading that we use, ranging from it's not yet introduced to exceeds standards. And so that's based upon the level of the student. And so their grade, at this point in time, their report card will reflect, even though they're in a multi-age setting, will reflect their progress towards their grade level standards. The effort side of things is self-explanatory. The effort, for the most part, while it is a part of the academic standards, this is one of the only this is the only way in which you can monitor student progress for the Arts Quest, for Phi-Ed, for Spanish, and for physical activity, or for Phi-Ed. So here are the areas in which you will get progress reports on. And this should be something that you recognize if you're a returning member to OCASA. And once again, the Arts Quest, which is the visual arts, performing arts, and culinary arts, are all woven into one area. And then Spanish and Phi-Ed also have that effort level progress. So how will we be tracking attendance? One of the things that we want to go back to is this year's in OCASA and CASA is not the same as the way in which we moved to virtual learning last year. The mandates that came from the Department of Education were to maintain, do no harm, and we were not required at that point in time to necessarily track attendance or log that students were actually doing work completion. That has changed. There is a legislative mandate that attendance is not optional. Logging into class during those assigned times are required, and satisfactory work completion is also expected. So what happens if your child is sick or unable to attend for one reason or another? As I mentioned earlier, all of the whole group direct instruction will be recorded. And so that 15 or 10 to 20 minutes of direct instruction based upon what your child's grade level is will be recorded and will be available for you. You just need to ask your teacher for where you can locate that video link. I'm going to ask that they talk through this when they actually have the parent back to school nights as well. And then they'll provide you also with what's the homework or what's the work product that needs to be completed. More than likely, they're going to work with you on a personal level to make sure your child is having everything that he or she needs. That's why we have a mixture of small group and individual meetings as well. Those will not be recorded though. So what about lunch, and how do I pick up all of the resources that I need? So this lunch is pre-ordered. It will be picked up on, you can pick up Monday and Tuesday's lunch on Mondays, and you can pick up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday's meals on Wednesday between the hours of 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. If you are a family that was with OCASA last year, you may recall having the option to be able to get paper resources for items that your students were working on, because maybe you didn't have a printer, or you wanted to make sure that you were able to allow that reduction in screen time. And all you'll need to do is email that request to your child's teacher, and those requests will have to be in on Monday by 11 o'clock in the morning for you to be able to receive your packet pickup the following Monday of the next week. So they will need that time period to be able to pull all the materials together and get them sent to the printer, and those copies run for you. Once again, you're welcome to come pick those up on Monday or Wednesday between 11 o'clock and 1 p.m. If you believe that you qualify for free or reduced lunch, you can sign up through that through Titan, and a link will be posted on Parent Square in the very near future. Teachers are teaching throughout the day, and so I want to let you know that emails and phone calls are not going to be answered within probably that 9 to 2 time period. They will, however, answer them as soon as possible. And any night or weekend communications that you do reach out to teachers with, do not expect that they will be responding at night or over the weekend. Some may choose to do that, but it is not an expectation. We recognize that they need the time that's during the day to be able to be in session with your students. And so being able to answer phone calls or do emails will probably not be possible, but they will do it as soon as possible. So what can you do to help your student? Well, it is not your responsibility to be your child's primary teacher. We know that from an academic standpoint. We know that you have been your child's first teacher, and that you will be their lifelong teacher. I can attest to that with a 34-year-old and a 25-year-old that still need their mom, and they still need their dad. And so what we're looking for from you is, can you partner with us? Be a learning coach, and let them know that, hey, I'm your coach here, but the other piece is you don't have to be the only learning coach in your child's life. You may have friends or family, or they are other children who have skill sets that would allow for sharing and opportunity when within the family to have other people be learning coaches in your child's life. What we ask specifically from you as the primary parents or primary caregivers in the household is that you set aside a quiet work area. A really important thing for especially the younger students is to have some type of visual schedule. That could be a clock, it could be a digital clock, it could be pictures on the table. A lot of teachers, if they're you're in the classroom, they'll actually tape it to where the workspace is, and actually ask children to move the clip, a paper clip or a clothesline pin down as we're going through the schedule. So that's something that you can look to. And also, I'm sure your classroom teachers will have other good ideas for helping you provide a visual schedule and prompting them on when to be in class. You have many skills and talents besides being amazing parents. You bring all kinds of background knowledge and experiences to your child's life. Use that where you feel comfortable to be supportive of your child's learning, and where you don't, make sure you reach out and you ask for our help, for additional help and support. We are here to do whatever it takes to make this the best possible situation for you, your family, and most importantly, your child's learning experiences. The other thing that you can do is, because we are very much low homework, we want to make sure that your child gets a good night's sleep. And so whatever he or she needs in order to be ready to go at 9 o'clock in the morning, please make sure that he or she gets an adequate amount of rest. It'd be wonderful if you can also provide a healthy breakfast as a part of that opportunity, and I really wouldn't be surprised if within our FIED curriculum, and actually even maybe within some of our culinary skills, you might get some ideas that kids want to try for creating their own healthy breakfast and learning as they're going, and to stress the importance of having good nourishment is essential for developing your brain and for being able to be a good learner. We do ask that your student is dressed appropriately. We would appreciate it if you would wear a school uniform to help build community. I do recognize and understand some families are in different situations that may not allow for that, but we strongly encourage that you wear the uniform. If you're wondering what that is, you can go to OCASA charter.org or OCASA.org, and you can find the uniform links on that page. If you have any additional questions that do not get answered this evening, but we are going to have a Q&A session, and we do have about half an hour left, please feel free to reach out to me via email or via phone. I will do my very best to return phone calls and emails in a very timely fashion, and also make sure I try to connect you with the right people if I don't have the answers, to connect you with the people that can assist, or I'll find the answer out for you and get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So with that, Doreen, are there some burning questions that people have that I should be addressing?
There sure are. A lot of questions about the daily schedule and wanting to see a sample of that, and how is that going to happen with multi-age classrooms?
Yes. All right. So the daily schedule is an actual example. I don't think would actually do it justice, because it's different by grade band, because of the amount of direct instruction that's provided and the amount of time that's provided. So let me give you a broad sketch of it, and then you will actually get an actual schedule from your teacher with very specific, this is when the literacy block is going to be, and this is when I'm going to be providing individual instruction, and this is when I'm going to be providing group instruction. So the basic gist is it's anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes of direct instruction. The students will be given work to practice with, so it's called repeated practice, and have opportunities to be able to check in with the instructional assistant and the classroom teacher and the lead teacher through small group sessions and individual sessions. That will happen for the literacy block, so reading, writing, listening, speaking, and then it will also happen for the numeracy block, which is all those different aspects of mathematics, whether it's geometry or number sense. So there will be a block of instruction, time to practice, time to actually work with a teacher in a small group, and individual time based upon the student's needs. So what does that look like when you're in a multi-age setting? we will be conducting assessments that will tell us what your student's skill level is. Whole group instruction delivers the basic concepts. So let's take something such as a grammar lesson where you're trying to decide if you're using TO, TWO, or TOO. And there'll be a introductory lesson saying, these are different examples in the way in which we use the word to when we're speaking, when we're writing, when we're go through some actual examples, and then the level of focus for students may just be on one of those twos, the number 2, TWO, because that's actually tied with another concept in another area. And so student work would have been exposed to it, but what they're going to focus on as far as mastery is just understanding when we use the word TWO. So that's a very oversimplification of it, but that is, and the classroom teachers will do an amazing job of explaining this to you also during our parent session and be able to give you very specific examples within their grade band.
Okay, a question about IEPs and how services will be delivered. There were several of those.
Sure. Services, as you're aware, our education specialist, Kelly Welsh, is in charge of all special education programming. She will work in collaboration with the members of each band. So the red band, the yellow band, and the orange band. Or sorry, I got that in wrong order, red, orange, yellow, to make sure that instruction is planned and delivered to meet the goals within the students' IEPs. We are looking at if you have a child who is coming up for assessment for like their 1-year or 3-year renewal of their IEP, we're waiting for guidance from the Department of Education and our special education provider to figure out how we're actually going to accomplish those assessments. I can tell you that as we have the yearly meetings, and we probably are going to need to be in contact with many of the parents who have IEPs to look at the service delivery and talk about, do we need to make an adjustment in the number of direct instruction minutes based upon your child's current needs, their ability to attain given their developmental level, or I shouldn't say attain, attend online, and what might be the best ways to do that. So it'll be a mixture of small group and individual instruction, once again, based upon your individual students' needs, defined within the guise of the IEP team. So the classroom teacher, the instructional assistant, myself, Kelly, perhaps the school psychologist, and the primary caregivers within the home for the child. So we'll make those decisions for if we need to change minutes or the format in which things are being delivered.
A quick question about what the end time is on Thursdays.
Thursday, the end time is at 12:30. And I think what you're going to find is that most of the instruction, the core instruction around reading and writing and mathematics and social studies and science will be during the morning hours across most of the bands. So the 12:30 just means there will be no small group instruction and no individual instruction on Thursdays after 12:30.
Will we get classroom codes, Google Classroom codes, with our teacher assignments?
I'm going to have to revert to Kapil on how that is actually distributed, or to Doreen, because I'm not sure how that's distributed, if it's going to come through our student information system of PowerSchool. or if it's going to be delivered directly from the teacher. So Doreen, if I could tap into your background knowledge, that would be wonderful.
I would say that we will do our best to get them out with the teacher assignments, but the teachers then will make sure that the students get those codes. They might be sending a class email out to all of the families. They will have their Parent Square classrooms set up. I know those are being worked on today, so we'll make sure that you get those. I don't know exactly what that will look like at your school, though.
Can I just add one thing to that?
Yes.
The teachers will be publishing the week at a glance, and typically the links have been listed on there.
Yes.
We are also trying to figure out a way to allow the teachers to put the classes on the students' Google Calendar so that they can check their calendar. Students still don't have email at this school, but they do have calendar access. And then the other part about Google Classroom is that you as the guardian will also get an invite to Google Classroom. You can't submit anything, but you can see everything that the teacher posts yourself.
How are beginning of the year assessments going to be conducted? We had a training on that today.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. All assessments for the beginning of the year will actually be happening virtually. I had a wonderful meeting with Red Band and Orange Band today, discussing how are we going to get our little itty bitties, our brand new scholars to understand how to do assessments using the computer. And so we're going to scaffold that instruction. We're going to take little small chunks, and just to let you know that the first year students will have a literacy and a math screening, much like what they've done in the past, face-to-face. And the teachers are planning on doing it in small group sessions over a period of a couple of weeks. And they recognize that, especially with our younger kids, that their ability to attend is not going to be at a very high level. And fortunately, the assessments actually allow you to pop on and off, and it remembers where you were at. And so we can take a series of days to actually go through actually grabbing that initial information. The other piece that's really important is that not only are, obviously we're looking at academic assessments for reading and for mathematics, language arts, but when you think about the whole child is a thinking about social emotional learning and being able to be in friendship and all of those different aspects. That's where you're probably going to hear from your child's classroom teacher to give them a little narrative, or tell me about what's fascinating and what's interesting about your child, and a bunch of interest inventories and those types of opportunities to get a whole picture, not just an academic picture of where your child is at. I should mention that probably is going to happen between the second and third full weeks of school.
So I have a couple questions about the time. That is it mandatory that they're attending? Are the STEM, art, and Spanish classes, are those all required times? Do students have to participate in all of the classes?
You are required to participate in and have that attendance. So that is a requirement that is coming to the best of my knowledge. That's the requirement that's coming actually legislatively. As you know, if it's anything related to direct instruction, it does get videotaped, and if it doesn't fit within the schedule, and typically it will, the younger you are, we're trying to push the special schedules towards the afternoon, so it's not as academic in the afternoon, to provide opportunities for kids to actually enjoy the Arts Quest Spanish opportunities and physical education. And keep in mind, those will be recorded and available online. And if the student goes through and does the video and completes the assigned classroom or the assigned assignment, that's considered to be present.
I just want to add something to that. We're trying to replicate as much as we can the on-campus experience online. And so when you talk about things like how much attendance is required, if you think about it, pre-March 13th, as long as attendance for the day is, as long as the student comes to some part of the day, they're counted present for the entire day. So the same kind of applies to the OCASA and CASA version, but we do want your kids to attend all of the classes. We're doing interdisciplinary projects, and it's important for them to be able to get the full experience so that when they come back and transition back to on campus, that it can be more of a seamless activity. There have been a number of questions about when are we going to go back to campus. We don't know. However, we will reopen the campus as soon as we are allowed to. So we're not calling the semester or calling the school year that it's going to be all online for the whole year. There will be an online option for the full year, but as soon as we can reopen the campus, we'll go back to what our plan was before of either full day instruction or an AM, PM on-campus option for parents to choose.
And Kapil, if I recall correctly, we recognize that family circumstances may change between when they last indicated what they were inclined to have, whether it be fully on campus, fully virtual, or 50-50. And so the likelihood that we would need to potentially redo that survey is not out of the question.
I agree with you. I think we're going to actually have to redo a lot of things because the regulations are literally changing on a week-by-week basis. And so we're going to have to evaluate it at the time when the county gets off the watch list. Essentially, we have 14 days after we get off the watch list to resume on-campus school. And so we're going to have to take a look at the regulations at that time. We are committed to following the Orange County Department of Health's regulations for reopening of schools. So that does include, currently that includes masks and social distancing and cohort type of work. I have a very strong suspicion that it will change as schools in other counties open and other states open, and we see what the actual impact is of the virus. I suspect that some of the recommendations may change. So we have all the information that you submitted before, but that by no means is locking you in to what you had put on the survey this summer. When we get there, we're gonna have a discussion with our entire community to figure out what the best path forward is.
Thank you, Kapil.
There are some questions. I'm just going back through. Wanting to know if teachers will be instructing all literacy and math classes. Will aides be instructing some of the classes?
Whole group direct instruction will be led by our lead teachers. And then the instructional assistants, which also, by the way, are credentialed individuals, will be providing the additional support around small group, individual instruction, and co-teaching with the lead teacher. But the lead teacher is the one who is ultimately responsible for your child's educational opportunities.
And a follow-up to that is, how large are the classrooms, and how what is the size of the small groups that are being instructed?
So class sizes are just like they have been in the past, 32 students. Small group will vary. It could be anything from 2 to 6 students, depending upon what the skill that is being worked on, and the instructional level of that particular child with that particular skill development. So they will range.
That you've answered, so I'm just working through a curriculum for ELA and math.
We'll be continuing to use the same curriculum that we have used in the past. We are going to be adding a few additional resources to that curriculum, which obviously are digital in nature, to help supplement the work that's happening within the English language arts curriculum, which we use the Houghton Mifflin Wonders. And then within mathematics instruction, we use UCI, so it's the University of California, Irvine resources. We also utilize various other pieces or various other resources such as Khan Academy, and to provide opportunities for practice. And then we also have a curriculum called Bridges, which is used for remediation for students who need additional support in mathematics.
A couple more questions about attendance are coming up for families who are not able to attend during the day. Are they able to complete the assignment by watching the links later in the day, and would that still count for attendance?
Yes, definitely. And the other part is that the work is completed and the student continues to make progress.
Questions about when teacher assignments will be shared, and will they remain the same if and when we return to campus?
At this, first and foremost, the classroom assignments will go out on August 17th. Will they remain the same? At this point in time, that's what we believe, but to Kapil's point, and that's what we would hope would actually happen, is that they stay with the same teacher, because that relationship, or those relationships, have been developed with the child as well as with the family. So it would be the intention that they would stay the same. There may end up being, based upon family situations, where a parent is asking at this point in time, my kids are in the same band, and can they have that same teacher at this point in time for virtual, so that they can deal with the one person, but when we go back to brick and mortar, can we revisit that? So we're going to take a look at what are the individual needs of students, and work with our families on what's going to be best for kids. But the number one, the basic answer is, for the most part, yes, they'll stay with the same teacher.
A couple of questions about being able to change teachers if they're working on teaching pods, like a group of kids together. Can they request to be with the same teacher, and can we change that?
So if I'm understanding the question correctly, you're asking that if they are with a teacher for whole group instruction, will they have the same teacher for small group instruction? Am I interpreting that correct, Doreen?
Oh, sorry, I didn't say it right. So I have a parent who wants to know, like, apparently there are some teaching pods being formed outside of OCASA, and the hope is that all of those kids in that teaching pod would all be with the same teacher. Can they switch things up if they need that?
Got it. I believe I know what's being referenced when they're talking about teaching pods, in case some parents are not familiar with what that is. We have several different groups of parents who are working in collaboration with each other to have learning opportunities for their for their children in a same place. And so the question is, can all of those kids who are working in the same place between that 9 to 2 have the same teacher? My response to that is we will do our very best to try and accommodate that, but we cannot guarantee it.
Okay, the question about the amount of screen time that is happening, particularly in kindergarten, continues to surface. Is there any flexibility with how much screen time the students will have? Can they take breaks? Can they come back? Or do they have to remain online all day?
Absolutely not online all day. As a matter of fact, that conversation was had even again today with the Red Band teachers, recognizing what what's developmentally appropriate for that age of student, and then also recognizing there is even for some children being able to attend to a screen, let alone get on the computer, could take all of 20 minutes to be able to log in, and we recognize that. And my message to all of my all of the OCASA charter teachers this week has been go slow to go fast. So in other words, take the time to develop the relationships, the necessary independent skills that children will need, and keep practicing. And once they feel comfortable, families feel comfortable, then we will be able to accomplish all kinds of wonderful things. But our number one thing is making sure that your child is loved first and feels as though that they are a part of something wonderful.
I think those are most of the questions. I apologize if I missed anything, but I think those were generally what people were asking Julie. Music, we answered that question about music. They want to know if there's music this year.
Yes, there is. So it will be approximately 20 minutes for the K1 band, approximately 30 minutes 3 times a week for the Orange band, and approximately 40 minutes 2 to 3 times a week with the Red band. I'm sorry, I said that all wrong. Yellow band at the end, 2 to 3 times a week with the yellow band.
Right.
Can you imagine if I was colorblind, how bad that would be?
Yeah. I think that is all. Those are all the questions that I'm looking at. If I missed them, Julie, what should they do?
They should feel free to reach out to me via email or certainly via phone. My email address, that's J for Julie, A for Ann, and I knew when my mom was mad at me because she would say, Julie Ann, come here. Beto Schubert, B-E-D as in dog, D as in dog, O as in Oscar, W-S-C-H-U-B-E-R-T, and please note that it's OCASAcharter.org. Thank you, everyone, for joining me this evening. I so appreciate the opportunity to connect with you. Be on the lookout for within Parent Square for additional information coming over the next couple of days. And we will be getting our class list finalized very shortly, schedules finalized. And so when you come join us, when your children come join us next Tuesday, we are going to be ready to be a part of your life and your child's life for the betterment of all of their growth, social, emotional, and academic. Thank you, everyone.
Lots of thank yous to you as well.